close colliding, though we never saw a single collision. Now, officers did manage to get bike strips up in front of him at one point, but he avoided them. You could see pulling into different strip center parking lots, always making his way back out, sometimes driving the wrong direction in traffic, and yet another close call here. So again, pretty miraculous that no one was injured, there were no collisions, and all of this came to a peaceful end in the end after all of those U-turns and all of those circles through those same neighborhoods. A lot of drama for folks in that area today. Now, we do want to mention, for you General Hospital fans, you want to set your DVRs because we will re-air today's episode at 1:05 a.m.
A woman is abducted from a supermarket parking lot in Southeast Houston. Police believe her ex-boyfriend took her, and that's led to a SWAT standoff in North Houston. Eyewitness News reporter Kevin Quinn live with the latest on this case. Kevin?
Wilbert Johnson surrendered.
All right, Tom, thanks a lot. You can get a closer look at the pictures of the men who police arrested. Just go to our website, abc13.com. All right, we want to go back to the breaking news brought you at the first top of the hour. Wild speed, high-speed chase that ended at a home in North Harris County. At one point, the driver right here went the wrong way, dodging those school buses.
Eyewitness News reporter Pooja Lodia live in the neighborhood where it all finally ended. Pooja?
We are still learning a lot more information about exactly what happened here, but first let me set the scene for you. We are in a residential neighborhood right now. We are told that this is exactly where that suspect bailed out. You can see him. He's actually in that patrol vehicle there, surrounded by cameras. That is where he is right now, but we're told he bailed out here, kicked through a fence over there at a home over there, and ended up inside this home where you can see investigators have surrounded. Now, we have just confirmed over the past 10 minutes that the suspect's girlfriend, and you can actually see her there with the blonde hair, that is the suspect's girlfriend. The suspect was found in the attic hiding under a mattress. Now, we got some video of him as he was being arrested. That is 41-year-old Nemesio Megafna. He told me through the window several times that he was very sorry for everything that he had done. He was sweating profusely, looked very upset, but investigators here on scene have confirmed that he was not under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Now, he was wanted, we're told, on an auto theft charge, but when police tried to arrest him, he led them on a dangerous chase through neighborhoods that actually had to put the entire Spring ISD on lockdown. Take a listen to what the constable for Precinct 4 had to say.
And we tried to spike strip him a couple of different times unsuccessfully, and ultimately he crashed out in one of the homes back behind us here, fled from the vehicle and went and hid inside the attic in this house with the open garage here where he was ultimately captured. In custody we have.
Now, we have just confirmed here on scene that investigators did find one gun on him. They do believe that he had two guns on him during that chase, so they believe that he threw out one of those weapons somewhere during the chase or maybe even here in the neighborhood. But again, they did recover one gun, and he is expected to be charged with having a gun because we are told that he is a felon. He is also expected to be charged on evading charges, and you can see he is being taken right now away from the neighborhood. That is 41-year-old Nemesio Megafna, accused of evading police, accused possibly in several auto thefts, and also for having a gun. We're going to bring you more information as soon as we have it. Reporting live, Pooja Lodia, 13 Eyewitness News.
All right, so those connections make sense when we see how that all finally ended. Pooja, thank you for the update from there. We have an update on another story that we've been watching today. Cruise.
More on that coming to the forecast. Live at 5 starts right now.
ABC 13 Eyewitness News live at 5 starts now.
Watch this. High speeds, oncoming traffic, near misses with school buses. Sky Eye HD was overhead as a man blazed through red lights, desperate to get away from police. An hour-long chase ending with the man running into a spring home.
And we're also following breaking news from North Houston, where a woman was abducted from a Kroger parking lot in broad daylight. A SWAT team moves in after getting a lead on where she was taken.
Welcome to Live at 5, everyone. I'm Art Rasco.
And I am Gina Gaston in for Melanie Lawson. We're going to begin with the dramatic high-speed chase. We brought it to you live here on Eyewitness News and ABC13.com.
Yeah, and it all ended at a home on Algerdon, and we're learning much more about why the suspect may have chosen that home. Eyewitness News reporter Pooja Lodia live now with all the new information. Pooja?
This is still a rapidly developing story. That suspect was just taken away from this neighborhood. But as we speak, investigators are combing this neighborhood as well as surrounding areas, searching for a gun that he may have just tossed out the window. Now, like you had said earlier, we are learning more information on that home that he ran into. It's this home here behind me. Investigators have been in and out of that home. We are told that the suspect's girlfriend lives there, and that is why he chose to come here. That suspect is 41-year-old Nemesio Megafna. He told me through the window several times that he was very sorry for leading police on that chase. He says he never meant to hurt anybody, and investigators here on scene have confirmed that he was not under the influence of drugs or alcohol during that chase. Now, he was wanted on an auto theft charge, and investigators here say when they tried to arrest him, that's when that chase began. Ended up in this neighborhood. Take a listen to a witness.
20 minutes or so. Been going on for about 20, 30 minutes or so. Going on for about 35, 40 minutes or so. Been going on for about 35 minutes or so. Going on for about 40 to 45 minutes or so. 15 minutes. He was on the run for 50 minutes now. 55 minutes to 60 minutes later, it ended. The chase came to an end near Algernon.
And investigators tell us they found that suspect in the attic of this home. We're told he was hiding under a mattress. And investigators say originally he told them he didn't have any weapons or anything like that. They later found one gun with him. And they say that that suspect did confess, did admit to tossing out another gun. So that's what's going on right now. Investigators frantically searching for that gun. Now, he is expected to be charged with evading police, having a gun because he is a felon, as well as potentially other charges. We will bring you more information when we have it. Reporting live, Pooja Lodia, 13 Eyewitness News.
What a wild chain of events. Thank you, Pooja. By the way, the timing of this high-speed chase couldn't have been worse. School had just let out, and you see this vehicle racing in and out of those school buses. They were just about everywhere. Spring ISD put a lockdown into effect at schools east of I-45. They also told all bus drivers to pull over while the chase was on, and you can see he even ran into a big backlog of school buses, instead just using the medium. By the way, we have posted video of the chase on our website on several locations. You can see just how close this was coming to a disastrous end. You can find it all on abc13.com.
Now, we broke into programming to bring you that police chase live, and for our viewers who missed General Hospital, we're going to re-air today's episode at 1:05 a.m.
All right, now to this. A family running, trying to get...
You watched it live right here on Eyewitness News this afternoon. A long and dangerous high-speed chase. That suspect at times dodging school buses while driving the wrong way. It all finally ended at the suspect's girlfriend's house. Eyewitness News reporter Jessica Willie is live with new information on that man and why authorities kept up that pursuit despite the potential risk to innocent bystanders. Jessica?
Yeah, Lona, the Harris County Precinct 4 Constable's Office says that they made the call to keep chasing this guy because they believed he was armed and dangerous, and they say he needed to be stopped. He will see the inside of this jail here again soon and was real talkative when it was all over.
I'm sorry for the people. I didn't mean to harm or hurt anyone, especially in the school area.
Sweaty and shirtless, the man who led officers in a high-speed chase apologized.
I didn't mean to run over anybody.
But he is in the eastbound lanes.
For almost an hour, he drove the wrong way, jumped curbs, and cruised past school buses.
Blowing through the school zone, and just, I mean, it was crazy.
Somehow, no one was hurt, but there were plenty of near misses.
He was just zooming around like he owned the street.
It all ended when he ditched his truck and then ran to his girlfriend's house near Treshwig in northeast Harris County. At first, she denied knowing him, but then this to our Pooja Lodia.
Is that your boyfriend?
Yeah. Right before he was walked to a squad car, authorities say Nemesio Megafna was hiding under a mattress in the attic. And we learned he was running because he was heading back to prison no matter what. According to online records, Megafna was out on parole for a drug conviction. He had a warrant for violating that parole when the Harris County Sheriff's Office was investigating him for auto theft, car burglary, and possibly a carjacking. When a Precinct 4 deputy constable tried to stop him today, he took off. Officers found a shotgun and ammunition for it and a pistol inside his truck. He'll face more charges for the chase and left us with this message for his son.
I want to say to my son, Tevin, be a good boy. Don't be like that.
And with this guy on the road, Spring ISD locked down its nearby campuses to minimize the danger. He had been out of prison, we've learned, for less than a year. And the Harris County Precinct 4 Constable's Office is still looking for a pistol they believe he tossed out the window during the chase. Live tonight in downtown, Jessica Willie, 13 Eyewitness News.
Now, Oliver, you played a perfect game so far. If you guess correctly in this round, you'll be a two-time winner of the only trophy.
First, she denied knowing him, but then this to our Pugilodia.
Is that your boyfriend?
Yeah. Right before he was walked to a squad car, authorities say Nemesio Magofnia was hiding under a mattress in the attic.
We are following some breaking news right now.
Before we wrap this up, come on.
I lost over 200 pounds. I lost over 200 pounds. I lost over 200 pounds.
Before we wrap this up, we're gonna be able to watch it now.
Trying to get some more information about, really now the big question is what happened and what all played out inside that home. And I'm just curious if the suspect was familiar with that home, familiar with this area. Really now the...
The woman who was there in that front yard was terrified.
Yeah, you see our crews there on the scene, Joe Eisenbaum there on the scene, talking with the deputies, trying to get some more information about, really now the big question is what happened and what all played out inside that home. And I'm just curious if the suspect was familiar with that home, familiar with this area. There was a reason he stayed in this area, because he did meander all through basically the Spring area, at one point over near Bush Airport. But he stayed in that same vicinity. I mean, he really didn't stray from there.
He did, and then apart from the woman in the yard who obviously was very terrified, after officers got there and they went inside and they brought one or two individuals out and they brought the animals out, things seemed to get fairly calm.
Right.
And right now, Joel Eisenbaum is talking to folks who are on scene right now. Are we able to take his audio? Okay.
We're going to try and get his audio and try and hear.
This is video from the chase earlier. Again, a chase that lasted close to an hour. You can see him just driving on the wrong side of the road. Yeah.
Buses. I mean, this was one of the more concerning, scary parts of the chase, that he was driving past school bus after school bus, presumably full of kids at this time of day.
Yeah, this was all, it all started about 2:15, and this portion of the chase was, 2:45, a quarter till almost 3 o'clock. And he weaved his way through a number of neighborhoods, main roads, up and down, different directions, a lot of different U-turns.
It all started about 10 or 15 minutes ago. And now this chase ended about this chase ended and now this chase ended about 45 minutes ago. And this chase ended about 45 minutes ago. And now,
considering that he ran from police officers for roughly an hour, then ran into a home. So we'll have to wait and see what charges indeed do come out of this.
You always wonder how it's going to end. You never know. Obviously, the spikes strips didn't work. He avoided those twice. He also, thankfully, didn't end in an accident because that was such a
going through intersection after intersection. Full of traffic. There you see him coming upon one intersection, and he would just go through those like it was nothing. And, I mean, that could have very easily gone a different way and ended in tragedy. And he was driving the wrong way multiple times on Cypresswood Drive.
Yeah, and there were several times toward the end of the chase. We don't know if people were listening on radio or they were getting phone calls from folks who were watching on TV.
And seeing and hearing all the sirens and helicopters in the sky.
Right. At some point, it looked like there were a couple of drivers who actually, tried to get in his way and slow him down and help out authorities who were in this chase. But he was successfully able to weave around them as well. And so, you don't know exactly what made him stop, unless he saw he was running low on gas. That's avoiding some spike strips right there. We don't know if he got low on gas or he just got tired of the chase. But that's the second time.
Here are spike strips there.
Yeah, flying to a parking lot.
Going through, some parking lots where he was trying to lose deputies there. All right, Joel's there on the scene. Hey, Joel, can you hear us?
Joel, we know you're there on the ground. You just got there. You're getting information. Have you been able to talk to authorities? And we know we saw you talk to one of the residents there. What are they saying there on the ground, if you can hear us?
Boy, this is a real fluid situation, and I'm sorry I can't hear you that well, Keith, but you can see they're talking to the guy. I mean, this is steps behind me. They're pushing us back just a little bit. This is the suspect that led us on that wild chase the last 30, 45 minutes and then broke through. Alan, let's move back just a little bit over here just real quick to show him where he came through. It was right behind this house. He kicked down that fence, according to a neighbor, came ripping down here and was inside that house right there. It took him just a few minutes. They pulled him out of there. I mean, there was an army of guys. I'm not sure if you guys took that live or not. There was an army of Precinct 4 deputy constables that pulled that guy essentially out of that house. Little guy, too. I mean, a tough little guy, I'm sure, but the guy was probably maybe 5 feet, if that, now in the back of that car, was firing some questions off at him in terms of why he did it, why he was driving like that, what he was trying to accomplish, and he was non-responsive. I mean, you could tell that he'd been through something fairly traumatic, but boy, I would say that's a pretty good end to what was certainly a wild 45 minutes. And they're putting up the police line now officially right here as we get on the other side of it. Let's get our bearings real quickly. There's a lot of stuff going on. They're pushing us back just a little bit. We'll get right back to you guys if that's all right.
Okay. All right, Joel, thank you. Thank you so much for giving us a look there on the ground. But again, as Joel said, thank goodness after a 45-minute chase and a short standoff, it ended peacefully.
Yeah, thankfully. We'll have much more for you coming up at 4 o'clock, and also you can find more at click2houston.com as well.
This has been a breaking news alert from KPRC Channel 2. For continuing coverage, log on to click2houston.com. KPRC Channel 2 now joins our regularly scheduled program, Already in Progress. Channel 2 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
Breaking news coming to us from Spring, where an hour-long high-speed chase ended with the driver bailing from his truck and running into a home. That's where he was arrested. We saw it unfold live right here on Channel 2 and at click2houston.com.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Keith Garden.
And I'm Lauren Freeman. That chase lasted for more than an hour. It began in the area of FM 1960 in the Spring area. The driver of a white pickup truck believed to be connected to a car burglary, refusing to pull over, weaving dangerously tight between other cars and trucks on the roads.
At one point, the truck driver went into the opposite lanes of traffic, many points, in fact. Watch as he meanders on the wrong lanes, coming dangerously close to school bus after school bus. And at one point, several buses tried to avoid the pickup truck.
And the chase would continue until he ditched the truck in a neighborhood and then started running. After hopping a fence, he managed to run into an occupied home. Several people and even pets were brought out by officers as they searched for that man.
And finally, the culmination of hard work by law enforcement. After nearly an hour, the man is brought out of the garage and is taken into custody. Our cameras capture the first images of the man being placed into handcuffs. And that chase leads more schools in the area to lockdown.
Our Sion Rhodes is covering that angle, but we start right now with our Joel Eisenbaum, who was on the scene when this man was taken into custody. Joel?
Yeah, it was, Lauren. That's right. We were the first on the ground. Want to go through real quickly. This man was just recently identified as 41-year-old Demisio Magatna, we believe, of the Houston area, 41 years old again, now being held on several charges, I believe, just taken from the scene in one of these cars. What they've left behind for the moment is Alan that's shown right
anyway,
that is
we're going to show it to the audience.
It appears to be a short shotgun, as in it may have a sawed-off barrel, which is, of course, illegal. One of two weapons this guy had on him, I'm told by deputy constables with Precinct 4 here in Harris County. He came ripping around about 45 minutes ago from behind this house where he had broken through a fence. And then, Alan, let's just show the corner, just so we have our bearings. He went into that house where you see that man wearing that purple bathrobe. The family was outside at the time. I understand the man was trying to hide up in the attic.
They
eventually pulled him out, and again, we were the only ones on the ground when they did that. Here's what it looked like.
Sir, why
were you driving like that on those streets? You know how many people you put in danger, sir? Why were you driving like that? So this was really quite the scene. In fact, it was a wild afternoon up here in the area of Cypress Wood in Treshwick. This was about 45, 50, 55 minutes with this chase of this pickup truck. This guy did some pretty fancy driving, truth be told. He came close to injuring several people, no doubt about that, sideswiping a school bus or just about. He managed to avoid two pairs of, or I should say two spike strips, and then he finally made his way into this neighborhood. We're on Algernon Street here, just sort of a regular suburban neighborhood, where he bailed out of that truck, came through a fence and into that family's house. A neighbor right across the street saw everything happen. He described it for us.
I came out, I was watching everything on TV, obviously, on KPRC, and I came out because I knew the area, I saw it all. I came out, right as I came out to my fence right there, he was kicking through right there. You see the hole in the fence back there.
Yeah, he put a good hole in that fence.
He kicked through it. I watched him kick through it, came out, started to head this way by this tree, and then cut straight across. Like he knew right where he was going. He knew where the house was.
Added up pretty amazing, really, that nobody was hurt and no real substantial property damage. And keep in mind, this guy, according to deputy constables, had two guns on him, including a nasty-looking shotgun that is right now sitting on the back of that squad car. In custody, 41-year-old Nemesio Magatna, originally wanted on burglary of motor vehicle charges from the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Now a few more charges tacked onto that. We're live in the Spring area. I'm Joel Isam on KPRC, Channel 2 News.
All right, good job today, Joel. Thank you. That chase had all Spring ISD schools on lockdown.
We're talking more than 36,000 students. Our team coverage continues with Channel 2 on roads. Live at Mildred Jenkins Elementary in Spring, where that lockdown was just lifted. Sion.
That's right. Normally, school dismisses here at Mildred Jenkins about 3:15, but up until about 5 minutes ago, this street here, Reynaldo Drive, was packed with cars, parents just now being able to get to their kids, and of course, the bus riders just now getting on those buses. As you said, a very dangerous chase this afternoon with that driver narrowly missing several school buses as he was trying to flee from authorities. And at one point, this chase went right by this elementary school. I want to bring you back live now and introduce you to Jacob. He's a fourth grader here at Jenkins Elementary. And Jacob, you told me you were outside when you saw what happened.
Yes, I was. And as I saw this chase come by, there was this gold, silver, bronze truck that just came zooming by, and then right behind it was a swarm of police cars. And then we apparently, we were just evacuated into the building and on lockdown until a couple of minutes ago.
And what did you tell your friends? You said you had some advice for them.
I told them that you just need to stay calm and just line up and get inside.
All right, and I want to bring in now Alicia. Now you're a mom to two students here. What was going through your mind when you first heard about this?
I was terrified. I mean, I was up taking a shower. My brother called me and said, turn the news on. There's a chase in your neighborhood. I don't even know if I washed my hair right. It just hopped out.
And you're trying to get to the kids.
I was.
Did the school contact you? How did they let you know what's going on?
I caught up here before they sent the call out for everyone to give them a notice that what happened. And so I called the school to confirm, and they said, yeah, it was on lockdown. And I was scared. I was having a panic attack. I just wanted to get my babies. It was bad.
And you were finally able to get them in. And we're just now learning that man had two guns in his truck, and this chase coming right by their school. How does that make you feel?
Well, I didn't know that till now, and that's very scary. It's extremely scary, especially being by a school and not too far from it's bad.
All right. Well, thank you. We're glad everyone is safe. Jacob, thank you so much. You guys have a great afternoon. So this is now the lockdown has been lifted. All clear here at Jenkins Elementary and all of the Spring ISD schools. Back to you.
All right, Sion, thank you. So glad everyone is safe and sound after that crazy chase. And you can see that chase video again on click2houston.com. Just look under the hot button and stay tuned for another live report coming up at 5. And we're following more breaking news involving
investigations. Live from KPRC, this is Channel 2 News at 5.
An hour of fear. A man leads deputies on a chase that puts drivers and nearby school children in danger.
Why'd you lead everybody on that chase, sir?
Why that man chose this house to try and hide.
Plus, authorities spot a man they think is smoking pot, but questioning him did not go as planned. How 3 deputies ended up injured before he was taken into custody.
And SWAT team on the move, going after a man accused of kidnapping his ex. How officers finally put an end to this tense situation. Very busy news day today. We're going to begin with that chase we showed you live on the air and on click2houston.com. Tense moments when a man led deputies in a long chase. Lauren covered this afternoon that even put a school district on lockdown. I'm Bill Biesa.
And I'm Lauren Freeman. That driver is now behind bars, but it was not easy for deputies to catch him. This all started before 2:30, and at around 2:38, you see the driver of the pickup truck on the left going the wrong way.
Right, anyway, thanks for watching.
Even swerving around school buses in that area.
We're going to leave you tonight with a police chase video. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Still trying to get
I'm
away
going
from
to upload it
deputies.
tonight
Then at around 3:09,
the
the guy
video.
gets out of the truck and begins to run off, eventually making his way inside that house.
So
about 10 minutes later, at 3:20, deputies went inside the house and arrested the man. Channel 2's Joel Eisenbaum is right now next to the constable car. The deputies pushed that suspect inside. So, Joel, I know you're hearing that the suspect knew the person living in the house very well.
Lauren, yeah, you're right. Police source here at the scene says the suspect's girlfriend lives in that house right over my shoulder here. It's the same house where this suspect ended up at the end of this chase. And I think really she was as surprised as anyone else that he ended up here. And it turns out he could only stay for a short while. Why'd you do that? Why'd you beat everybody on that chase, sir? His name, according to deputies, is Nemesio Magata, 41 years old, and before this afternoon's wild chase, already wanted for breaking into cars, according to the constable, and it just got a lot worse.
Just phenomenal driving. He made U-turns, stop, run through parking lots, endangering a number of people. We wound up having to close some schools.
Dodging not only a school bus, but 2 sets of spike strips, the suspect led law enforcement from several agencies on more than a 45-minute chase, mostly really in a circle around Cypresswood and Treshwick Road in North Harris County. Then it ended quite abruptly on a suburban side street.
He was kicking through right there. You can see the hole in the fence back there.
Yeah, he put a good hole in that fence.
He kicked through it. I went this way by this tree and then cut straight across.
And it wasn't just any house. It turns out, a police source tells Channel 2, that the suspect headed to his girlfriend's house. That's who lives here. But this guy just couldn't find a hiding spot quick enough before Precinct 4 was all over. You're going to kill a lot of people, sir. Now, coming up at 6, more about who this suspect really is. Would you believe he has a criminal history? We'll take a closer look at it. For now, we're live in Spring. I'm Joel Eisenbaum, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
All right, Joel, thank you. Good work today. Sky 2 captured every moment of the chase not long after it started. You see our entire raw footage. You can go to the hot button section on our website at click2houston.com.
So while that chase was going on, Harris County deputies were in hot pursuit of another driver on Veterans Memorial. This chase began with a guy who investigators say was smoking pot and a deputy being dragged by a speeding car. Channel 2 Sion Rhodes has details about this chase. Sion, I know that some deputies were hurt in this chase. I'm not sure how many, though.
Yeah, it was 3 in all. I'll tell you more about that. This all started, again, as you said, at Veterans Memorial Highway and Kelly Lance with a traffic crash. A pair of deputies sitting in their cruiser at a stoplight were rear-ended by another car. Other deputies came to the scene, and that's when one of those other deputies working traffic control saw and smelled marijuana. In fact, saw a suspect rolling a joint and then smoke it. He tried to get that guy out of the car. The guy refused. That's when the deputy went for the man's keys. The driver then took off, dragging that deputy for a short time. A chase. The deputies pursuing the driver of this car for about 5 or 6 miles. And it finally ended when that man had a blown out tire in a residential neighborhood off of Donbrook and Black Castle Drives. Here's what one neighbor saw.
But I smelled burning rubber, and I thought, oh no, something's on fire. And sure enough, all this was going on. And they had him in the ground, and they were struggling with him, and that's pretty much all I saw.
And so deputies were able to get that man into custody. They found a wad of cash along with more marijuana. As for those deputies, we know the 2 who were involved in that initial crash were taken to a hospital to be checked out, and the deputy who was dragged only suffered minor injuries. As for the suspect, he's now in custody on what would have been probably minor drug charges, now facing more serious charges of fleeing from police. Reporting live, Sion Rhodes, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Sion, thank you. And it continues. A woman abducted from a grocery store parking lot, safe tonight after a dramatic series of events.
Not only was she abducted, she was also held hostage in the Heights. We have team coverage tonight. Our Phil Archer talked to that woman's family in southeast Houston, but we begin right now with Mark Doyle, who is where that woman was just found after being held hostage. Mark?
Very concerned neighbors who live in this complex here behind me, but they are relieved tonight knowing that this is all over and the suspect is in custody.
And a wild chase with an even wilder ending, and you saw it all here on Channel 2. But there was one more twist after this dramatic arrest. And that twist, that driver was no stranger to at least one person in that house.
And that wasn't the only dramatic moment we saw. From beginning to end, the pursuit lasted just over an hour, replete with terrifying moments. The driver weaving in and out of traffic, sometimes against traffic. Joel Eisenbaum was the first reporter on the ground in that neighborhood where the chase ended. Joel, we mentioned that the driver knew somebody in the house. Who'd that turn out to be?
Well, Bill, that depends a little bit on who you ask. A police source here at the scene says that is the girlfriend of the suspect, her house right over my shoulder here. When I talked to a family member of that woman, they say, no, that is ex-boyfriend and ex-girlfriend. That's their relationship. But however you slice it, this guy was moving mountains this afternoon to get here. Why'd you lead everybody on that chase, sir? According to court records, this 41-year-old man identified by deputies as Inicio Magofna has previous convictions for drug possession and theft, and he's certainly got more legal trouble coming now.
Well, his charges, I bet, will be numerous.
Oh, yeah, felony evading, among the other charges he was already being wanted for.
After what honestly was some fairly remarkable driving, dodging a school bus and spike strips over an hour this afternoon on the north side, we now know why the suspect ended up on this rather unremarkable suburban street in North Harris County. A source says his girlfriend lives here, but a family member says that's not quite it. Just to be clear, ma'am, he's an ex-boyfriend because they were saying it's a current boyfriend. Not a current boyfriend? I want to get the record straight. I'm sure she is. A neighbor got a look at the last moments of this pursuit up close and personal, that's for sure.
He was kicking through right there. You see the hole in the fence back there.
Yeah, he put a good hole in that fence.
He kicked through it.
Got anything to say for yourself, sir? Police found him in the attic. He'd had at one time 2 guns with him. And after all the drama, perhaps the most notable and thankful part, not a single person hurt. Deputies were especially interested in this man today because he was a suspect in a series of car burglaries. When they tried to stop and question him, that's when this chase started. That man is in custody tonight. We're live in Spring. I'm Joel Eisenbaum, KPRC Channel 2 News.
Good reporting, Joel, as usual. Thank you. That chase was so dangerous. At one point, Spring ISD placed every school in the district on lockdown. The decision was made to protect the district's 36,000 students who were about to hit the road any moment. In this video, in fact, you can see the man in the truck weaving in and out of school buses, narrowly missing hitting them several times. The lockdown was lifted a short while later when the man was taken into custody.
Only on 2 tonight, a puppy shot and killed by a man who was angry that the dog relieved itself in his yard.
We don't have that recent rain like last night leading into this